Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Wang Yi and Anthony Blinken met in Bali in Indonesia at the G20 summit or meeting, and they had some nice words to exchange during the meeting. I have here an article coming from the South China Morning Post from July 9th, 2022, and this is the title. China presents U.S. with further demands to improve relations at meeting between Foreign Minister Wang Yi and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. China has expanded its list of demands to the United States if it wants to improve relations, as senior officials met on Saturday. Both U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi described their talks in Bali as constructive, with Wang saying they had created conditions for further high-level exchanges. However, he also accused the U.S. of failing to fix their damaged ties after the Donald Trump era. And it says here that the Sino-U.S. relations are still not out of the predicament created by the previous U.S. administration, and they are even facing more and more challenges, Wang Yi said, according to state news agency Xinhua. He added that the U.S. wrongly sees China as a threat, saying, and I'm quoting, "If this threat theory is allowed to further develop, U.S. policy towards China will be entering a dead end that it cannot exist." End quote. Wang said China has presented Blinken four demands. Let's see. Remedial action for Washington to take a list of Beijing's key concerns. 1. U.S. legislation it wants changing, and 8 areas where the two sides can cooperate. Details of the list were not made available. China had already presented a list of its key concerns and remedial action if wanted in July last year, including a call for visa restrictions on Communist Party members to be lifted and for fairer treatment of Chinese citizens in the U.S. The talks between Blinken and Wang on the sidelines of a G20 meeting in Bali lasted for 5 hours, including a lunch meeting. 5 hours. Woo! Topics discussed included the ongoing Ukraine war, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the U.S. presence in the Indo-Pacific region. And I'm quoting, "Despite the complexities of our relationship, I can say with some confidence that our delegations found today's discussions useful, candid, and constructive," Blinken told reporters after the talks. The U.S. wants, and I'm quoting, "our communication channel with Beijing to continue to remain open." In the talks, Wang accused the U.S. of not honoring commitment to improve China-U.S. relations made during the virtual summit between Xi Jinping and Joe Biden in November. Wang said the U.S. is still building up its regional alliance to contain Russia, supporting moves towards Taiwanese independence, interfering with China's internal affairs, though the guise of human rights and smearing China's political system. The U.S. has pledged to support Taiwan, but said it does not support unilateral change to the status quo. And I'm quoting, "The U.S. must not underestimate the firm determination of the Chinese people to defend territorial sovereignty and must not make subvertive mistakes that ruin peace across the Taiwan Strait," Wang said, according to Xinhua. Blinken said the U.S. has expressed concern over Beijing increasing provocative rhetoric and activities regarding Taiwan, Hong Kong, forced labor in Xinjiang, and the treatment of ethnic groups in Tibet. On Ukraine, Blinken said the U.S. is concerned over China's alignment with Russia, adding that Beijing is not neutral in the crisis, neither is the United States. So, off. All right, and I'm quoting, "I would start with the proposition that it's pretty hard to be neutral when it comes to this aggression. That's a clear aggressor. aggressor. That's a clear victim, he said. Well, that's a clear instigator and it's a clear supporter of that. Can we add that, Blinken? No. And I'm quoting, but even if you accept that as a premise, I don't think that China, in fact, engaging in a way that suggests neutrality. It supported Russia in the UN. It continues to do so. It's amplified Russia propaganda going back even as Russia was missing its forces. Well, the thing is, and Blinken denied that he's doing anything in East Asia. It's not like a second NATO. And it says here, by deeming the talks useful and constructive, that means both sides are making progress. Yeah, they're making progress because they talk. But if they don't talk, like right now the Russians and the Americans, anything can happen. And what are they going to do? Just talk with the weapons, let the weapons talk? Well, that's what it is with this guy. With these guys, they all point fingers at one another in both sides, and I don't know if they're gonna accept responsibility for their actions because the truth is perceived very, very differently by either side, and somehow they what I think of this is the first. The United States does not want China aligned with Russia. That's for sure. The problem is it's already done. Now they tried maybe to postpone. They try to destroy somehow Russia before it gets a stronger alliance. And by destroying Russia, China will be the next one and will say, "Hey, see that Russia example? That's going to happen to you." If Russia does not collapse, then China will stay on course. If Russia loses somehow or it just disintegrates because the leadership in Kremlin in Russia is cut, then China will obviously have to somehow, should I call it, tone down its rhetoric and take it easy and cooperate. If Russians resist and moreover succeed, then China is not going to play with us. It will play based on its interests, but it always will have Russia as an alternative. So it's like you're going to do this for me, otherwise I'm going back over there. And it's going to keep Russia in that position of they are our friends and we together, we can smash you or we can at least create some big problems to your club. So do some concession, make some concessions here for me. All depends on what's happening in Russia, Ukraine. And as of now, the Russians are successful in whatever they do. People say, well, it's a little bit, they were slow. As I said, I don't have a time schedule here to tell you it was early, it was late. Other people expected it to happen in 48 hours. Some people expected it in 3 weeks. I personally thought it would not take this long, but I didn't expect, on the other hand, this much support coming from the West. But I don't know if that support is really that much help. But we'll find out after about 20 years, after things settle. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.